Kayla sits hunched over her desk at 2 in the morning, her dimly lit dorm room filled with the soft hum of her laptop fan and the chaotic glow of multiple screens. On one side, Twitter explodes with hashtags like #LoveAndLiesFinale and #JusticeForNaomi, threads of outrage stacked with hundreds of angry replies, while TikTok stitches play on repeat, fans screaming, crying, laughing bitterly at the ending of the show they had invested years of their lives in. On the other side, YouTube comments refresh in real time, an endless stream of disappointment and betrayal flooding in. Kayla, 22, eyes rimmed with exhaustion but burning with fire, slams the record button on her mic and leans forward until her face almost fills the camera. Her voice trembles not with weakness but with fury. Forgiving a cheater isn't love. It's self-destruction. And tonight, this series betrayed every single one of us. Her words are sharp, raw, and piercing, cutting through the noise of the internet like a knife, and yet beneath the anger there's something more, a flicker of pain she doesn't name, an echo of old heartbreak hiding in the spaces between her sentences. While fans across the globe post their reactions, collages of TikTok rants, furious Reddit essays, and threads dissecting the finale moment by moment, Kayla positions herself as the truth teller, the one voice brave enough to say what everyone else is dancing around. But even as her video gains traction, as comments flood in calling her a hero for saying what others won't, the camera catches glimpses she doesn't realize she's showing. Her phone buzzing with unread texts from an ex she never fully healed from, her inbox littered with half-finished drafts of unsent confessions, the look in her eyes when she says the word betrayal like it's not just about the show but about her. The fandom thinks she's fighting for Naomi, for the story, for justice, but in reality, she's also fighting for herself, for the girl she was before love became a wound that never stopped bleeding. Kayla's life is small, ordinary on the surface, but every detail of it feels like a quiet battle she's been fighting for years. She lives with her mom in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment on the edge of town, a place where the paint on the walls is peeling and the hum of the fridge fills the silence when her mom isn't home. Her mother, a nurse who works long night shifts, leaves before Kayla even finishes dinner most evenings, meaning Kayla spends countless hours alone with her laptop as her only real companion. She's a media communications major at the local college, someone who takes diligent notes in lectures but whose mind always drifts toward a secret dream, building her own YouTube channel where she can peel back the layers of toxic romance tropes, exposing the ways stories normalize manipulation, betrayal, and silence. That dream burns quietly inside her because Kayla knows firsthand how dangerous those narratives can be. Ryan, her high school sweetheart turned toxic ex, made sure of that. He cheated, gaslit, and manipulated her until she didn't even trust her own instincts, until she learned the hard way that forgiveness, when forced, is just another cage. She escaped him, but the scars linger, shaping every word she speaks into her mic, every critique she launches at the media she consumes. Around her, a cast of figures orbit her journey. Marcus, a fellow media student with a sharp tongue and a rival reaction channel, scoffs at her passion and dismisses it all with his trademark cynicism. Stories are lies anyway, why care? Yet secretly watches the momentum she builds with more envy than he'll admit. Elena, the quiet girl who sits 3 rows behind Kayla in lit seminar, listens to her every word with wide eyes, because Kayla's unapologetic bravery mirrors the secret novel Elena is writing about abusive relationships, a story that terrifies her to share but refuses to let go of. And Ryan, the ghost of Kayla's past, lingers like smoke, slipping into her notifications, leaving comments under burner accounts, circling her new life like a predator who refuses to admit he's been cut out. When Kayla uploads her furious late-night video about love and lies, she expects it to vanish into the void of the internet like her other uploads, a scream released into nothingness, but something shifts, the views begin to climb, the comment section explodes, and her words, "Forgiveness isn't love," start to transform into a mantra repeated by fans across platforms. Suddenly, she isn't just a girl with a mic ranting into the dark, she's the spark for a movement, a figurehead for people who are tired of watching betrayal dressed up as romance. But what makes it dangerous, what raises the stakes beyond fandom discourse, is how blurred the line becomes between her online crusade and her private life, because every word she says about Naomi, about the show, about the betrayal on screen, is also about Ryan, about her, about the pieces of herself she's still trying to stitch back together. And as the world listens closer and the movement grows louder, Kayla realizes this isn't just critique anymore, it's her healing, her reckoning, and maybe her one chance at rewriting the narrative she once believed about love. Kayla wakes up to the blinding glow of her phone, its screen flooded with more notifications than she has ever seen in her life, the numbers so high they blur into meaningless digits, but the meaning is clear: her video has gone viral. Thousands of people are watching her face, her words, her fury, and they are not just listening but responding, amplifying her voice into something larger than she ever intended. Her inbox is overflowing with emails from podcast hosts begging for interviews, fans sliding into her DMs to share their own stories of betrayal and heartbreak, strangers confessing the wounds they've carried for years, telling her she said what they couldn't. For a moment, she feels a dizzying rush, the thrill of validation, of being seen, but it doesn't last. Marcus, never one to miss an opportunity to sneer, posts a reaction video of his own, smirking into his camera as he calls her rant performative heartbreak, reducing her raw emotion into a joke for his subscribers. And then the notification that nearly makes her drop her phone. Ryan, the ex she swore she'd erased, the ghost who haunts every word she speaks, sends a text after months of silence. "So this is about me, isn't it?" The words hit like a blade, forcing her to confront what she's been denying, that her viral crusade isn't just about the show, it's about him, about her, about the wound she never closed. Suddenly the spotlight feels less like a triumph and more like a trap, her personal pain turned into content for strangers to dissect, speculate on, and meme. She scrolls through comments that cut both ways, some hailing her as a hero, others accusing her of being bitter, broken, too loud, too much, and the weight of it all presses down until she can't breathe. In the privacy of her small bedroom, the hum of her laptop still running in the corner, she crumples onto her bed, clutching her phone to her chest, and whispers to the empty room, "Am I even strong enough to carry this?" The words slip out like a secret confession, fragile and trembling, as if saying them aloud might break her completely. The pressure builds faster than Kayla can process, each day dragging her deeper into a spotlight she never asked for but can't seem to escape. Fans flood her comment sections begging for more videos, demanding she keep speaking out, treating her not just as a critic but as the voice of their own silenced pain. What began as one late-night rant now feels like a responsibility pressing against her chest, heavy and relentless. Marcus, ever the cynic, escalates their feud by uploading a polished video essay titled "The Myth of Betrayal in Romance," dismissing her movement as naive outrage and mocking her for pretending stories matter. His words sting not because she believes them but because part of her still fears his right, that maybe all this is meaningless noise. Yet validation keeps pouring in too, keeping her tethered to the work even as it wears her thin. In the middle of all this, Kayla notices Elena quietly showing up to her live streams, leaving soft, supportive comments that stand out against the chaos. When they finally talk offline, Elena opens up about her own abusive past, confessing that the finale felt like watching her trauma romanticized on screen. The admission cracks something inside Kayla, making her realize that this is no longer about a fictional series at all, it's about real people, real wounds, real validation that too many never receive. But just as Kayla begins to find strength in that connection, Ryan returns like a shadow creeping under the door, slipping into her messages with a venom disguised as reason. He accuses her of profiting off heartbreak, twisting her words until she questions her own motives, gaslighting her in the same quiet, suffocating way he once did when they were together. His presence shakes her, dragging her into the undertow of self-doubt, leaving her staring at her reflection in the webcam lens, wondering if she's become exactly what he says. The dilemma gnaws at her: should she step back before everything spirals, protect what little peace she has left, or should she double down, keep using her voice no matter the cost, even if it means tearing open her private life for millions to see? The night of the livestream feels like stepping into an arena, the weight of thousands of eyes pressing down on Kayla as she squares off against Marcus in a debate that has become the fandom's main event. His smirk flickers on one side of the screen, her determined face on the other, the chat scrolling so fast it's impossible to follow, hearts and insults colliding in real time. At first, the tension is electric but manageable, Marcus firing off sharp barbs about her being too emotional, Kayla countering with her steady insistence that stories matter because they shape the way people see love. But then, in the middle of it all, the chat explodes with messages that make her blood run cold. Ryan has entered. His name lights up the feed with venom, spilling private details Kayla never shared publicly, dragging their past into the open like a weapon. The crowd erupts, some disbelieving, others piling on, and for a moment Kayla freezes, her throat locked, heart hammering so hard she can hear it over Marcus's voice. It feels like the end, like he's stolen the ground from under her, ripped her truth away. But then, instead of shattering, she takes a breath and leans in. Her voice trembles at first but grows steadier with every word as she looks straight into the camera and admits what Ryan is trying to use against her. Yes, he cheated. Yes, I stayed silent. But silence kills us. That's why I'm speaking now, because fiction isn't just stories. It's mirrors. And some mirrors save lives. The shift is instant and seismic. The chat erupts again, not in cruelty but in solidarity, fans flooding the feed with support, rallying behind her courage. A new hashtag begins to climb, #SpeakYourStory, transforming the moment of attempted humiliation into a movement of empowerment. And in the strangest twist of all, Marcus, who built his entire brand on cynicism, sits back in silence for once, his smirk fading as he admits, almost softly, that maybe she's right. For Kayla, the fallout is explosive, terrifying, and liberating all at once, her wounds laid bare, but her voice stronger than it has ever been. In the days after the livestream, Kayla feels a strange quiet settle over her, not the silence of fear or suppression but the kind that comes after a storm has passed, heavy yet freeing. For the first time in years, she takes control of her own narrative, starting with Ryan. When his number lights up her phone again, she doesn't hesitate, doesn't agonize, she simply blocks him for good, shutting the door on the chapter that nearly consumed her. With that space reclaimed, she turns toward something new, something bigger than just her voice alone. Elena, once a quiet supporter in the shadows, now sits across from Kayla in cafes and study rooms as they map out a project that blends their passions, a channel segment where they analyze romance tropes not just through media critique but through survivor stories, giving others the validation Kayla once needed herself. What began as anger has transformed into purpose, into a platform where pain can be acknowledged without being glamorized. Even Marcus, whose cynicism once felt like an unmovable wall, begrudgingly admits on his channel that Kayla has shifted the way he sees storytelling, confessing that maybe stories are more than lies, maybe they really can be lifelines. Kayla's own arc comes full circle when she uploads a video not centered on betrayal or rage but on healing, her tone softer yet more powerful than any rant before, inviting her audience to share not just outrage but growth. The comment section fills with fans telling their own stories of survival, heartbreak, and resilience, each one building on the next until the space that once felt like a toxic battlefield of fandom discourse transforms into something resembling community, solidarity, and hope. Sitting in her small apartment, the same glow of her laptop lighting her face, Kayla smiles through tired tears because she finally understands her voice doesn't just echo into the void anymore. It connects, it matters, and in choosing to speak, she has built a mirror where countless others can finally see themselves and know they are not alone. The apartment is quiet except for the faint ticking of the old wall clock and the soft hum of her laptop, its glow spilling across Kayla's desk where a patchwork of sticky notes now covers the wall, messages written in her own hurried handwriting, reminders carved out of pain and growth. Love isn't silence. Stories save. Speak even if your voice shakes. The chaos of her viral rise has finally settled into something steadier, not a roar but a hum she can live with, and tonight she sits with a mug of tea warming her hands, breathing in the calm she once thought she'd never find again. She looks at the notes, at the words that once felt like desperate affirmations but now read like truth she's earned, and a small, genuine smile tugs at her lips. Her inner voice, quiet but sure, carries the weight of her journey. Maybe love and lies didn't give us the ending we wanted. But real life rarely does. Sometimes, we write our own endings. And this time I'm not writing in silence. The moment lingers, soft and still, before she reaches forward and presses record once more, her gaze steady, her shoulders relaxed, no longer trembling with doubt but anchored with resolve. The camera lens captures her as she is now wounded, healing, unafraid, and as the screen fades to black, it is her silence that speaks the loudest, transformed not into submission but into strength.